Jonathan, can you comment on Nick Fuentes and what do you actually do that effectively can counter what he does? And what are your expectations of the government to be critical of a person that has that kind of platform?
So for everyone's benefit, the question was, can I comment on Nick Fuentes and what he does, and what are you doing to counter him, and what's the government's role?
By the way, his second name is Joseph, a good Jewish name.
Nick Fuentes' second name is Joseph?
Yes.
Look, his last name is Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is a Hispanic person, okay? And he is an open, unapologetic, racist, homophobe, and more than anything, an anti-Semite. He's a toxic, disgusting person. And yet, thanks to X and social media, he's been incredibly effective at getting his message out there. I mean, social media is a super spreader of anti-Semitism and hate. And people like Nick Fuentes, they're like patient zero spreading this. And look, it didn't help us when candidate, whatever you'd call him, former President Trump had him over for dinner, like at Mar-a-Lago a few years ago. And it doesn't help us that when given the opportunity, people in positions of power don't renounce this guy. Now look, to his credit, J.D. Vance has done that. But we have this challenge right now on the right, and it's like a good thing because there are bad voices who've been elevated. Like, look, Nick Fuentes is disgusting, Tucker Carlson is disgusting, Candace Owens is disgusting, and so on. But there have been good people like Ted Cruz and Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin who are pushing back on these, Speaker Johnson, pushing back on these revolting lunatics. So to answer the question, I think the only way we are going to defeat the rising anti-Semitism on the right is from the right. I think the only way we're going to defeat the rising anti-Zionism on the left is by people on the left. So what I try to do at ADL, what we try to do, is to provide data, is to provide tools, is to step up, but often quietly behind the scenes. It doesn't help. I don't think it helps the Jewish people, and it doesn't disarm them when I go after Nick Fuentes or Hassan Piker, a revolting person. They should call him Hamas Piker. He's here in L.A., and he's just a putrid, says horrible, slanderous things about Jews, about Zionists, about Israel.
And has a big platform.
Yeah, so you might not know Hassan Piker, but if your kids are watching video games, you better believe they do. Because on Twitch and on Steam, he's everywhere, let alone on YouTube and Insta. So anyways, long story short, we definitely are working a lot to try to get the platforms to kind of enforce their own terms of service so that we can pull down the most offensive hate speech or get them to do it. But I need people on the right to take down Tucker Carlson, so I'm trying to help Ted Cruz. I need people on the right to take down Nick Fuentes, so I'm trying to help people like Ben, and same thing on the left.
I do just want to say, when I talked in the sermon about the nuance of every human being and how we're all children, I didn't mean Nick Fuentes.